Hey guys, it's Travel Pace by Janice, and it's been one heck of a year. So I really don't even know how to start this, so I'll just say it bluntly. I moved from Modesto, California to Dallas, Texas by myself, so as you can see, it's very different. This is my apartment. And on my Instagram, I had talked about it back then. So things have changed with me personally since. I removed a ton of followers. My Instagram is now extremely private. But I did save some of those questions a lot of people have since I moved at the beginning of the year, and I did have quite a bit following. So I'm going to answer some of those questions along with telling you what it's been like, comparison living from California to Texas, the cultural differences, and then the other states I've actually visited while living here. So let's get into it. So the number one questions I got asked was, one, why did I move? And two, why did I pick Dallas? So I'll start with that first one. There were a lot of contributions why. A lot of things happened in 2022 that just affected me and it changed my world. And the number one was the passing of my dad. And that was extremely hard. I think that's been the hardest thing I've ever gone through. My dad and I were very, very close. And what it did, it scared me. A lot of my friends are married, they have kids, and they have families, and I don't. I have my mom and my brothers, and I was living with my mom at the time. But reality just set in that my mom's not gonna be there for me for the rest of my life, unfortunately, just like my dad. And so I had this moment realization that I've never been on my own. I've never had to take care of myself. It's always been like me and someone else, and I think that's how it is for a lot of people. And I had this fear that if circumstances change and all this stuff happens, what if I end up alone? What if I have to do this on my own, So I really started planning out things, looking at, the cost of living and all this stuff. And I realized with the income that I was making and my, career path and everything, I could not live on my own in California. Like, I could not afford it. I would always have to have a roommate, would have to have somebody. The reality of things though is we may not all of us have someone. I'm not married. I don't have kids. It's my mom and my siblings, and they might not be here. Things can happen in a flash. So I reached out to some friends, and I was trying to get a feel of where they lived and stuff, and I have friends that live here in Dallas, Texas. That kind of how that started to go about. Another reason why I kind of picked Dallas was my mom actually lived out here in the DFW area for about 7 years. And so she kind of knew what it took to, how much you have to make, cost of living, and this and that. And so things just kind of fell into place how it worked out. I came out here to visit in January of 2023. And I stayed for about a long weekend, and it was just kind of to get the feel of the city, in the Dallas area my friends lived in, and just kind of get an idea, I'm gonna live here, essentially. And at the time, I had applied for American Airlines. I wanted to work for the airport because you guys know I obviously like to travel. So I was here for a long weekend. I applied at some places. I went back home, and then they called me telling me I got a job interview. So I had to fly back immediately. And I only packed for about 3 days because I was like, I'm just gonna go for the job interview. So I had one job interview outfit and then two, recreational outfits, and then a set of pajamas. That was it. I did a backpack. I didn't even do a full carry-on or anything. So I immediately came back. I think I was home maybe about 4 days, and then immediately came back. And all this was pretty much the entire month of January, right? So I go to the job interview, and it's not what I thought at all. The pay was so low, the hours were terrible, and they really just shoved the flight benefits down your throat. Yeah, but you'll get free flight benefits, you'll get free flight benefits, all the flight benefits. But there really is no benefit to it, because when you're newly hired, you're put at the bottom of the ranks. So everyone above you, they pick their schedule, they pick their hours, and you kind of get whatever's left at the bottom of the barrel. And even for the flight benefits, you know, I could fly for free, but that's if one, the days that my days off will allow me to. So like I said, I don't get to pick my days off. I couldn't give them my availability. It was like, whatever they give you, that's what you have to work with, right? And then, you know, so say I got 2 days off in a row, right? That's how it works out. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to take a quick trip, you know, wherever. You're also, again, put at the bottom of the ranking. So if someone else comes in who has higher seniority over you, they're going to be like, you know what, I want, you know, I have those 2 days off too. I want to travel somewhere. You get pushed out of the way. Like, there was no flight benefit. I can see the benefit after you've been with the company for years, but I was like, no. And then I think it was for the first like 6 months, I couldn't request any time off. So any religious events I had going on, they were automatically denied. If I wanted to see my family, I had to wait 6 months. And I was like, no, I need something consistent. This is not going to work for me. So I didn't take the job. And at that point, that's when I got stressed, because I was like, that was a big reason why I wanted to live in Dallas. Like, I wanted to live by an airport. I wanted to work for the airport. Now it's really just thrown a wrench in my plans. So I called my mom and I talked to her, and I'm like, I'm just going to fly back home. And she goes, you're already out there. She goes, I think you should stay, and I think you should just apply and do interviews, because people were calling me for interviews, right? So I'm like, okay. So I ended up staying for 3 weeks off my 1 interview outfits, my 2 recreational outfits, and a set of pajamas. Like, I lived off that clothing for 3 weeks. I was staying at my friend's house. I ended up buying a car. I had my savings, so I was able to buy a car in those 3 weeks. And I ended up getting a job. They called, you know, I had several interviews at this place, and I really, really liked it. And yeah, I got the job. And so they offered it to me, and they're like, when can you start? And I said, well, I need to go back home to get the rest of my stuff. I literally was only here for this, you know, and we can start, because I think at this point it actually merged into February, because that makes sense. Because they offered me a start date of February 27th or March 6th. And I ended up picking March 6th because I was like, I want to fly back to Texas with all my things by February, that weekend of the 27th. It was like the 25th, 26th. And have that week, because I had to apply to get my driver's license. There's so much you have to do when moving to another state. And they're like, okay, like, no worries, we'll do that. So yeah, I went home, and I was home for a couple of weeks. I said my goodbyes to everyone, and I moved. I just up and moved, and it's hard. It's so hard, but it's so rewarding, because now, you know, I've been here about a year now, because we're in January 2024. And I wanted to kind of talk about that more, the move, because I wasn't sure what I want to do in this vlog. Because I'm like, obviously I have travels, you know, the vlogs I want to show you guys, but I also, this was my biggest trip. This was huge. Moving from one state to another by yourself. At first I was like, this is like cool, this is an adventure, and it is. And then reality sinks in, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting my first apartment. I'm doing, it's a lot of firsts. It's a lot of these milestones. And like I said, you know, my dad passed away in 2022. And so it was a lot of these first milestones that I couldn't share with my dad. And that was incredibly hard too, because like I said, he and I were so close. But I know he would have wanted me to enjoy these milestones, and I know he would have been so proud of me. So I try to hold on to that integrity and not be too sad about it. It's still sad, you know. Grief definitely stays with you. It becomes a part of you, and you just kind of learn to deal with it, just like you learn to deal with, you know, happiness and excitement and all these positive emotions. And the grief is just a little bit heavier. The way I describe it is, you have this love and excitement, and you can't share it with the one person that you really want to. It sounds weird, like a weird analogy, but it's like, you know, when you really like someone, and then like you guys break up, or you're dating, you break up, and it's like, you know, you want to text them because you're so used to talking to them every day, and then it's like, oh, like I can't text them. Like that wave of sadness, it's like that times 100. It's rough. But, you know, like I said, that was the reason why I moved, and I was able to learn how to do this. And I love my apartment. It's so cool, and it's mine. You know, I worked hard for it, and I have my car, and, you know, I've made a life here that, you know, I really, really enjoy. So that was kind of answer the 2-in-1 questions. I guess I could go into a little bit more why Dallas. So I live 10-15 minutes from the airport, which I love. I used to live an hour and a half away, 2 hours from the airport. So it's like you have to get there 2 hours before a flight. So really you have to leave your house 4 hours before, because it takes 2 hours to get to the airport when you're supposed to be there 2 hours ahead. I cannot tell you the convenience of calling an Uber, calling my friend and be like, hey, I have a flight, like I gotta go. And I'm a carry-on girl, so I probably shouldn't do this, but I do. I get to the airport like 45 minutes, an hour before my flight. But, you know, it's amazing. It is amazing. It's so, so close. I love it. And Dallas is a relatively safe area. Obviously, it's got its rough neighborhoods and stuff, but compared to the Bay Area and where like the major cities I go, like Sacramento, San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland. Oakland's a big one. I would not go in those cities by myself. If there was a concert or an event going on, I would definitely try to get a group to go. Versus Dallas, I've gone to several shows alone. I've gone to concerts, and I'm just having so much fun finding the city and exploring it. And I'll be like in this neighborhood and then driving. I'm like, oh, I went to this coffee shop the other weekend. Like, I didn't know it was like this close, or this restaurant, or whatever. You just have so much fun with the layout of the city and learning and exploring things. And it's fun. Like I said, it's relatively safe. So I do things a lot alone here, which that was kind of another reason too, was, back home, all my friends are married. All my friends are married and having kids. One of my best friends, she just found out she's now expecting. So that's so exciting. I'm so happy I get to be an auntie again. But my hometown is not the funnest place for single people. So like I said, I wanted somewhere where I was like, I can explore and have fun and do all this stuff. And Dallas is perfect for that. So I'll explain about the DFW area. So I live in a city, technically the city I live in is called Irving, Texas. And it's right between Fort Worth and Dallas. So when you say the whole area, you're gonna say DFW. So think of the Bay Area, right? However, Dallas and Fort Worth are very completely different cities. So Dallas is very big and modern. They're really into finance. I would say that's more like San Francisco. Like, it's a lot of new things happening. It's always like up to date. Everything. There's always things changing. Like, oh, there's a new restaurant. There's this. There's that. Like, it's a lot of fun. I do like Dallas a lot. Fort Worth. I wouldn't compare it to Oakland. It's nothing like Oakland, but it's on the other side of the bridge, if you know what I mean. So it's like, when people call Fort Worth Dallas or Dallas Fort Worth, it's like if you're calling San Francisco Oakland and Oakland San Francisco. Like, you're gonna get your head chewed off. Like, they're not the same. But Fort Worth, I do like Fort Worth too. Fort Worth reminds me of like old money. It is so classy. It is so nice. Very just like elegant and bougie. Like, if me and the girls are gonna go out, I dress up. I dress up for Fort Worth. Versus Dallas, I feel like I could go more casual. I could go more chill. It's like new money. So that's kind of the difference. And I live between the two. So Fort Worth is they're both about 25 minutes away. So it's nice. It's a pretty big area and there's so much to do. And like I said, it's good for single people. I mean, families too. Like, I've met families, I've met older couples and stuff. I really enjoy it out here. I really, really do. Okay, I knew that one was gonna take a while to explain and talk about, but that's okay. So the next couple questions I had was I nervous making friends or finding things to do, and this and that. So I've kind of explained, there's a lot to do. There's always something going on. I will say, even though it's a big major city, I really don't have to wait long for anything. Like restaurants and stuff, I think the longest I waited is like 30 minutes. It's not, there's always something. It's like if one place is like too packed, like you go and you can drive like 5 minutes and there's something similar, something, I don't know. There's always just something to do. It's like, you're never just like tied down and all this stuff. there's a lot of sporting. So we just won the World Series, the Texas Rangers. Bruce Bochy coached them, so I'm very proud. Bruce Bochy was the coach for the San Francisco Giants when they won their World Series, in case you didn't know. So we have that. That's in Arlington, which is about maybe 20 minutes where I live. I also live about 15 minutes away from a Six Flags theme park. Again, 15 minutes from the airport. I've been to a Dallas Stars game that is hockey, and that is it's a little bit further. It's about 30 minutes. And I drove there. I drove and parked, all that stuff, but I recently found out I can take the train. The train station's about 10 minutes, and it'll drop me off right at the front gates. So I think the next time my family comes and visits, we're all hockey fans. I think we're gonna go to a Dallas Stars game. Basketball, I think it's the Mavericks. I'm not a basketball fan, so don't come at me, but I'm pretty sure it's the Mavericks. And then, of course, Dallas Cowboys. I forgot about them. I don't care for them, but I have gone to a game. And all those arenas, they've all had concerts, they've all had shows and stuff, and I love it. I think it's so much fun living like in a suburb of a major city. At first, I really wanted to be in the central of the city and everything, but I looking at it now, I was like, okay, that would have been too chaotic. That would have been this, that would have been that, because you know what? I come from a smaller city, and I knew too that was going to be a big distraction. Always wanting to go out, always wanting to do stuff, and so you kind of have to learn self-control. Because now I'm like, well, I have rent, I have bills, I have to budget, and that was something I didn't really think was going to affect me, but it did, because I had all these plans. I was like, I'm going to go out to eat like every weekend. I'm going to do this all the time. And it's like, I was humbled very quickly. And it was nice because I have, you know, a really good friend back home in the Bay Area. She's been on her own for a minute. So me and her actually got very close. And we talked a lot about the struggles and the reality of living on your own, and just, you know, don't believe everything you see on social media. People will post that they're doing stuff and all this stuff, and it's really not what it seems. It's not. Like, everyone struggles, and that's okay. Like, I'll be honest and real with it. Like, I've had my struggle meals. Like, I thank my mama that she taught me how to cook like from scratch, because I'm out here scraping up what am I gonna eat? What am I gonna do? And that's okay. That's okay. My cooking skills definitely got a lot better. I was always a good cook because my mom is a really good cook and she taught me, but man, you learn when you ain't got nothing and you can't afford to go out to eat. You know real quick how to use those seasonings correctly. But yeah, so that was a different, like, okay, that was definitely like a learning process. Like, okay, like it's okay, and then, you know, talk about it with close friends, because obviously that's not stuff you want to talk about with just like anybody. But I was able to make some close friends, and I, you know, talked to friends back home, and we're talking like, yeah, it's a reality check, because, you know, you see on social media, like you can see me and be like, oh, she moved to a major city, she has her apartment, her life's all together, like it's not like you have struggles, and then you end up having different struggles, because I've never been in this situation before, and people just don't talk about it because it's private, it's embarrassing. And even me, like, I'll talk a little bit on here, but I'm not gonna talk about everything. It's definitely a learning process, but I am having so much fun. It's the most fun I've learned how to do. I don't even think I said that sentence correctly, but it's okay. I was able to make friends. That was probably my biggest fear, really, because my hometown, I've been there my whole life. My 3 best friends back home, I've been friends for 15, 12, and now 10 years. I've been friends with these friends, and it was hard because I was like, how am I gonna, like, how do I make friends like these girls? You know, these are my best friends, like, that I see all the time, every weekends, like what am I gonna do? Like, that was hard. It was hard. And you learn so much about yourself and how to make friends in your new environment, but you also stay in touch. Like, me and those girls, we still talk. We have a group text between the 4 of us, and I love them so much. I can really open up with them when I'm feeling homesick, when, you know, there's issues going on here, and even though we're thousands of miles away, it's like nothing. When I went home to visit my best friend, when we hugged, we cried. I felt it with her. We were definitely more like emotionally affected by my move. like I'm talking about her, I miss her so much. I wish she was here, and you know, her baby boy and her husband, like I can't wait for them to visit. I can't wait to visit back. I felt it. The other two was like, hey, what's up? Like we we talked so much. It was just like nothing had changed. Like I had just seen them. So it's like funny how you realize the depth of those friendships back home. And then here I prayed so much, you know. I was like, Jehovah God, please help me, you know, make friends here, real friends, ones that understand, you know, my sense of humor. They understand like my upbringing and, you know, my traumas, my grief, like real friends, not just people to hang out with, you know. And he did. He gave me so many friends, different types of friends, ones I can open with, be silly with, and they don't make me feel bad because you know, you're new, you're still new, and you're like, what if they think I'm annoying? What if they think this? And you know, there's probably are people that think I'm annoying or weird or whatever, but I don't hang out with them. Like everyone I've hung out with, like they're just so loving and caring. And I've actually, last night I had friends over here and we were watching, you know, the series that we were all into and stuff, and you know, I was just thinking like, Jehovah, thank you. Like, this is what I wanted. I wanted friends to bond and hang out with. And, you know, I made new friends, but obviously still having my old ones back home. So it makes it exciting, you know, when the travel, this year was very chaotic for me. It was hard for me to have my friends visit from California because I was still getting everything in order. This year though, my calendar's already almost, we're January 1st and my calendar's already almost like filled up, all the travel plans that are happening. So definitely friends are coming. I have friends visiting, so that's exciting. And I can't wait for them to meet, you know, the friends I've met here, and the friends I've met here, you know, have travel plans in the works. And Jehovah he really answered my prayers. He gave me exactly what I needed and more. And it just helps adjusting so much easier when you have good friends that support you and are encouraging and just so loving and understanding. It's amazing, honestly. It really, really is. Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps up the part about moving to Texas and how I feel about leaving California. I think California will always have a special place in my heart, but it's gonna be a toughie getting me to leave Dallas. It really is. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So getting now into my travels this year, I really didn't talk about. I didn't make vlogs. I have clips I'll be showing you guys. But okay, so first up, I moved into my apartment on May 20th. That was insane. The same day, I had friends visiting from everywhere. So it was this DJ back, I've known him in California for years, for so many years. And they were hosting this huge party here in Dallas. So he reached out to me. He's like, hey, I need for you to be like a promo girl and like reach out to all these like, you know, people and, you know, come get them to come to the party. And I'm like, dude, I just moved here. I literally been here for like 2 months. Like, I don't know how we're gonna do this, but somehow we did it. And I met so many people. And I ended up meeting a guy from North Carolina. And so we were talking a lot about me visiting the Carolinas. Then I have a friend in South Carolina. So me and her were talking because I was like, she lived in Charleston. So I was like, hey, I gotta fly, you know, Charleston, and somehow like maybe we could drive up to North Carolina, and we were gonna go to Asheville. And just things were getting so complicated, so complicated. So what ended up happening was that friend I had met here in Dallas, he lives in Charlotte. So I ended up flying into Charlotte, and I was there for about a day and a half, and I hung out with like him and his friends for a night, and it was so nice. We went to this Mexican restaurant, and then we went to a rooftop bar, and it was so, the view was beautiful. It was so nice. It was like a 360 rooftop bar. It was so nice. So then the next day, my friend drove up from Charleston, South Carolina to Charlotte, North Carolina. It's about a 3-hour drive. She drove, picked me up, and then we drove back to Charleston that same day. It was very chaotic. I don't know how she did it. Right, I officially got picked up. Hey!
I'm with my carrito. I'm so happy. And we just crossed the state line. I am officially in state number 29, South Carolina.
We get to her apartment, I unpack, we change, and we just like hit the town. And so we went on, I cannot think of the name, King Street, that's what it is. It's on King Street in Charleston. So if you watch a lot of shows, movies, a lot of famous things were filmed there. We saw the sidewalk where in the Notebook that Allie and Noah are laying in, and you know, she's like, what if a car comes? And he's like, oh, we'll let a car, we get run over, you know. So we're out. The street behind me, that crosswalk, is where Noah and Allie laid after the first date. One of my favorite shows is called Outer Banks. So some things were filmed in that area. It's so nice. It's very charming. The city is so charming, and we just had so much fun that night. We went to some restaurants, we went to some bars, and we had such a good time. And then the next day, we went to the beach and we just relaxed. It was just so relaxing. A really big food there's a lot like shrimp boils. That's what they eat a lot out there, and I will not complain. I'm always down for a good shrimp boil. It was so good. So we did that, and then the last day, I think we just kind of chilled. We really did. It was a very chill trip. She took me to where we could see, oh, actually that was the same day at the beach. I don't even know what they were called. To me, it reminded me of the Painted Ladies in San Francisco. It was just like a row of colored houses, and it's, like I said, it's just a charming city. I remember now, the next day, we actually went to Georgia. We went to Savannah, Georgia. It was about a 2-hour drive, I think. Savannah, Georgia is so beautiful. So beautiful. My only complaint was it was a little hot, it was a little humid, it was a little sticky outside. But we had brunch and we just walked around. I got some souvenirs for my friends back in California. And it was so nice. It was so cute. I really liked Savannah, Georgia, because I had visited Atlanta, Georgia before. I believe in 2021. And I would not go back to Atlanta. I think if you watch that vlog, I said I wanted to go back after going to Savannah, Georgia. No, I will go to Savannah, Georgia any day before I ever go back to Atlanta. Like, oh my goodness, I loved it. And then I think the next day we just kind of chilled. And then I came back home. So like I said, I have clips, I have videos, but it was not enough to like make a whole vlog about it. But it was still a really nice trip. And then that was in about August, September, that trip. And then in November, I ended up going to Nebraska and Iowa. That one is so random. But I got invited by some friends to go, and I took the opportunity. I said, okay, let's go. So we went to Des Moines, Iowa first. We landed in Omaha, Nebraska, and then we got a car rental and went out to Des Moines, Iowa. We were literally there for a day. And it is such a small city. It is so cute. I don't know, it was just like something you see like at a Hallmark movie. It was so adorable. And then we went to this restaurant. It was called Fong's, and it's a Chinese pizza restaurant. So they had like ramen pizza, pho pizza. We got the crab ragoon pizza, and then they have a tiki bar. Like, it's just so random. And then there's a karaoke bar in the back too. Like, it was just the most random thing in Des Moines, Iowa. And it was, honestly, it was lit. I loved it. It was so fun. There were some more places I kind of wanted to see. I did hit up the breweries there because, you know, I had to get the breweries from my brothers, our little tradition that we do, our little brewery stickers. So we did, and that was kind of it. And then we went straight to Nebraska. So we drove past Omaha, which is the capital, and then we ended up in Lincoln, Nebraska, which is another city there. And I really wanted to go because there's an artist I like called City and Color. And he has a song, and one of the lyrics says, I've never been to Alaska, but I've been to Lincoln, Nebraska. So that I had to do that. It was on my bucket list. And Lincoln, Nebraska really has nothing. It's like Modesto. There was nothing there. So the next day, we went back to Omaha. Because our friends lived in Lincoln, so that's why we were staying there, and just kind of like, I wanted to go there for my bucket list, right? But the next day, and Omaha was only 45 minutes away. It's not far from Lincoln at all. So we did Omaha, and Omaha's so cute. It is so adorable, very cute city. Um, I can't really say what their dish is there. It's just a melting pot of this random stuff. Um, but they did have a bridge I went on, and it's the state line of Nebraska and Iowa. So you can stand both states at the same time. So that was really cool. They had like a little river walk at, some point in the city, and I just kind of walked around, and it's just a very, very cute city, very relaxing, which was nice. So that's something I'm noticing in the States. You have your major cities that you're like, always go, go, go. Like Chicago was insane. Chicago was constantly running around. What's the next thing? What's next on the list? We got to do this. We got to do this. We're running out of time versus, Omaha and Des Moines is like, all right, I could do everything in about 20 minutes. But it's cool. It's so cool to see, these different states and how it makes up one whole country. It's amazing. And yes, it is very flat and a lot of corn, a ton of corn out there. So that's kind of it. So that's why I didn't really vlog those cities and trips. I figured I would kind of share a little bit on here with you guys. That's pretty much it. My move from California to Texas, which was a huge thing of 2023, and then of course knocking out 4 states. So now that I'm settled here, my friends, had asked me, May will be up my 1-year lease for my apartment, and I had let everyone know that, I would at least move for a year. So a lot of people are asking, what's gonna happen after May. As far as I know, I'm staying. I'm staying here. As much as I miss everyone home and I get homesick, I'm usually cured with a visit here or there. So I do have a couple trips planned back home because, like I said, my best friend's pregnant. So I have to go for her baby shower, and I have to go to meet my baby nephew or niece. I don't know, my little friend's baby. So yeah, so I definitely, like I said, I have a lot of trips planned. A lot of my friends planning on visiting here, so we'll see what happens. I hope I could vlog more for you guys this year. Like I said, it was a little too chaotic for the vlogs. Imagine that. But hopefully 2024, I'll have some more for you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.